My fiance is concerned with my circus partner being a girl considering the amount of time I spend with her in rehearsing routines and practicing our partner acrobatics, and I'm not sure how to comfort her about it. Posted by you/throwrasecondtry. My fiance, 24F, wanted to talk to me, 26M, a couple of nights ago about something that's been on her mind for a while, but something that she wasn't sure how to express. She was nervous about coming off wrong, to use her words, and she said that she was afraid that bringing it up would ruin our relationship, but I did my best to promise her that nothing she said could do that, so she told me what it was, and I'm trying to find the best way to handle it. We have known each other going back to high school, and we have been dating for the past 3 years. We both recently graduated and wanted to wait until we did before we talked about marriage, but after we did, we both began looking for places and I proposed to her with a ring that she pointed out to me, but when she told me what she did, she said that she felt guilty for not saying it before telling me to buy the ring, and even though I promised her that nothing she said could change how I feel about her, she still feels bad after we talked last night, and I wanted to come here and ask for advice on the situation. When I was in college, I fell in love with circus arts on the side at a place that offered it, and after trying a trial class, I ended up taking classes there for my first college semester going on 4+ years, and I mostly specialize in handstand balancing and partner acrobatics, but this is the thing that she was slightly concerned about. In the partner acrobatics class/community that I've been a part of for the past few years, the instructors would assign partners based on similar skill levels in the group, and I have been working with another girl similar to my skill level, and my fiancé knows this and has even attended a few of our recitals, not to mention she's also tried a few classes herself, but felt that she'd be a long time until she became decent, and she didn't feel like putting a lot of hours into it, which is totally fine. We all have different passions, and I try to support hers like she tried to support mine by attending our recitals over the past few years. However, when we talked, she said that she didn't want to come off as if she was jealous, and she made sure to emphasize that numerous times, but she said that she had doubts about how closely we work together, and specifically how we're usually holding/catapulting each other up into different balances and work very closely to each other, along with the time we've spent together to refine our skills for performances and such, and she just wanted to ask as it's been on her mind for a while, but she felt bad for not stating her concern months before. I did my best to tell her that I love her and appreciate her concern and for telling me too, since I know she could have kept it inside and lead to future problems by never voicing it, problems I would never know about in all likelihood. However, I also tried my best to emphasize that while we worked closely together to refine our skills, that we were not in any romantic relationship whatsoever, despite the fact that my partner isn't in a relationship. And I know how it can look when we're balancing and stunning together in close proximity, but my partner also knows that I'm in a relationship, and I personally see it similar to when dancers work with other dancers or actors/actresses in a movie/play may have relations that don't translate off of the screen and are strictly professional. However, I told her that if she prefers that I stop doing acrobatics with her, that I'd be more than willing to do that as we're especially about to get married, but she began to feel guilty and say that she didn't want to waste all the money from our last 4 years of working together along with how we make some money on the side performing at gigs that our studio often provides, and she began to feel guilty for bringing it up and causing a rift between me and my partner, which has not happened at all. I want to show her that I appreciate her telling me her concern and that I'm willing to do my best to erase any concerns she may have, and especially as we're about to get married in the near future, and I'm happy that we could have a conversation about it. However, she just feels concerned and guilty for bringing it up, and I wanted to ask how I should best go about everything from here on, and here's what I mean. I'm more than willing to stop partner acrobatics as we're about to get married by all means, but I'm also trying to think of how I would explain that to my partner, without going into all of the details, but keeping it professional. I'm also trying to be respectful and grateful that my fiancé brought it to my attention by doing whatever she feels most comfortable with, but if I quit, she'll probably feel guilty like she's said probably 100 times, and she is my priority, but I wanted to ask for advice on how to move forward and what choice would be the best one to make, perhaps even from others who are actors/dancers and have relationships aside from working with a partner in a professional field. Any advice is appreciated, and thanks for reading all of that TL. My fiancé wanted to talk to me about something that was on her mind, but she made sure to emphasize probably 100 times that she felt guilty for bringing it up and didn't want to come off as jealous, but I told her that I appreciate her bringing her concerns to me as her partner, instead of keeping it on the inside as an invisible grudge potentially, because it shows how we can work through things. I train in a circus school and study hand balancing and partner acrobatics, and she's been to a few recitals and watched me and my acro partner of 4+ years work together and said that she was concerned with how close we work together, and more specifically stunted together by lifting each other into the air and other stuff like that, and I told her that I'm more than happy to quit to erase that doubt, but she began to feel bad and guilty for bringing it up, and I want to encourage her to bring up more things as we're about to get married instead of keeping them inside, and I'm trying to find the best way to go about it. Update 1. 6 weeks later. Some of the advice that I received last time really gave me a different perspective that I didn't have. Someone said that while quitting acrobatics would be an option, that it could do more harm than good in the long run because it would set a precedent on how male/female relationships outside of your marriage would be handled in the future, and that rather than removing temptation, it could be better to learn how to establish mutual trust, along with how it's not good to give up hobbies we enjoy that may make me/us resent each other later. Someone else also recommended setting strict boundaries/guidelines and making them clear to my fiance the next time we talked, and I tried my best to do so. When we talked again, I told her that I wouldn't be hanging out with her outside of training and that she is welcome to drop by unannounced like someone also recommended, along with thanking her for bringing it to my attention again and assuring that I'm willing to do what's best for both of us. I also told her that if that didn't work and quitting down the line would just be easier, that I'd be fine with that too, but she said that she didn't want me to quit and that she admired the effort we put in and didn't want to ruin that at all. She said that she was also thinking about it a lot more too, and that she thought of some things she didn't say when we last talked. She clarified that she was wrongfully jealous of the bond that me and my partner shared, specifically how much she admired the trust we had and stuff like that, and she also told me when she first began feeling what she voiced last time, and it was after someone commented on our video performance some time back and thought that my partner was my girlfriend, and it was a few years ago before some people knew we were dating, since it was a family friend who said it, and she expressed that it did hurt her feelings, and I told her that I had no issue removing the video from a few years ago off of my socials. She felt really bad about not saying anything for so long, but that she felt for a while that she might lose me over her and that she considered herself to be less than her too, but that she wished there was something we could do together to strengthen our bond, since she wishes she could perform with me, but didn't want to personally commit to acrobatics after a few sessions, but she doesn't know what that bonding thing could be yet, and it's something we're trying to brainstorm at the moment in the midst of the wedding planning, and I wanted to ask for suggestions on things we could do and potential ways to make her feel better/more confident about herself when she sometimes has a tendency to doubt herself for many things, and hopefully a bonding activity can change that, since this could be the resolution she was looking for. Update 2. I went back and forth on writing this a few times, but it's been hard when I thought things were getting better, but we never ended up getting married. In my first post, my fiancée said she wanted to talk to me for some time, but was afraid of coming off wrong and feared it could ruin our relationship. Editor's note: edited out a rehash of the last posts. Update: one of the best pieces of advice I received was to use the situation as a precedent for how male/female relationships would be handled in the future as a means to build trust going into our marriage, a better alternative than quitting which could lead to resentment. So when we talked again, I offered to have her drop by unannounced as well as offering to have her meet my partner too. She said she didn't need to drop by and that she still felt guilty for bringing it up in the first place, but I told her that it would only make us stronger and that we could try a new hobby together too. She said that she was open to it, and after my update post, I felt things were looking up. She came to one of our training sessions. My partner and I rent studio time to train together outside of group classes for specific choreography routines, and she met my partner formally and watched the entire session. Afterward, she was open to the three of us grabbing lunch since they didn't get to talk much at the studio, and they seemed to hit it off well. However, not long after, she told me that her parents created most of her doubts about my partner and I being together, along with sending the video of our performance to her relatives to convince her that it looked like more going on between us when there wasn't. This was the first that I learned about it, as her parents never brought their concern to me, but I told her that I didn't look at her differently because of her parents because I wasn't marrying them. But she said she felt embarrassed and that her parents said some things that really hurt her along with spreading them to relatives too, and she was really emotional when she said all of this too. In the aftermath of learning about my hobby/seeing the performance video, they told her that they wouldn't support our marriage anymore unless I quit. But she made sure to emphasize that her initial conversation was not about me quitting, but rather feeling insecure about herself/her body compared to my acro partner. I told her I didn't care what her parents thought despite their threat to not attend/want their wedding funds back, that I'd happily give so that we'd owe nothing to them, but that I also understood how harsh they were being after they called her derogatory names, WH_ being one, in addition to spreading gossip to both relatives/church. She had received calls/messages from all three sides, and they began to make her depressed too. I asked if she wanted to talk to someone about it, perhaps even together if that made it easier, but she said she wanted space not because of me but because of her parents' threats to not talk to her anymore on top of everything else. I wanted to stay together with her through the process, but she insisted on doing it alone and just was really depressed. So, we took a break that I thought would be brief, but she stopped responding almost entirely. I even considered going over to see her after some time, but my dad said that was a bad idea. On the bright side, Erin formally canceled with our wedding planner, which honestly made my heart sink, although I appreciate her doing it the right way instead of rushing into it. Her parents were always fine with me up until the video, I guess, but refused to answer any calls/messages I gave them before Erin left, to talk to them together, and strictly stuck to gossiping about me, even offered to go over, but they texted Erin that I couldn't and to stop bugging them. I've been unwilling to practice acro much too, taking a break for a time as things have been tough, but my partner has been understanding and said she hopes I come back to class, and I'm thinking about it to get active again. After my first initial messages to Erin, I took breaks to give her space for a few weeks before trying again, but there has been no response. My dad said it's tough for people to break away from their parents and make big decisions sometimes too. Her parents also called me some derogatory names too in a 180 since the video. So, I'm just trying to take things by each day, but if there's anything I'll ask for, it's how to move on and get active again because it's been tough and some days especially. Maybe going back to class would be a start, but I'm just hoping to have the strength to do so soon because it's been hard to do much of late.